is nothing wrong with your browser. Do not attempt to refresh the page. We are now controlling all that you see and hear. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can delude you with 1,000 videos or expand one single frame to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can design. We shall control all that you perceive until we see fit to release you. You are about to experience the depths of depravity that reach from the folly of human pursuits to the deputy of common sense. Please stand by. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and demons of stupidity. It is I, Alistair Crowley III, Deputy of Common Sense and your vampire extraordinaire. Boy, do I have a treat for you today. You might want to see a doctor after this. It's likely to give you cancer, and AIDS, and Ebola, and Legionnaire's disease, and brain-eating amoebas, and pretty much any other horrible disease out there. Today, we'll delve into a special kind of stupid as we shock the idiocy out of Shock of God. Let's do this.
Hey folks, we're going to do a response video to Jacqueline Glenn's question.
Oh hey, he's responding to Jacqueline. I love her content. Let's see what sort of horrible things he's going to say about her. It's not like Shock of God has any sense of integrity, is it? I'm very familiar with his methodology, and he's a bit of a twat. But let's hear him out anyway.
Are Christians happier than atheists, or are atheists the jolly happy ones? And I think we all know the answer to that.
Why, yes! Yes, we did. I love my life. I love simply being alive in this fantastic world of ours. And I love mocking idiots like you, Shock. But what's this? You don't sound very happy right now. I wonder why. Why so glum, Shock? Why so serious? Turn that frown upside down. I'll give you a Scooby snack. No? Not enough? I'll give you 2 Scooby snacks. No, I can't tempt you with the Scooby snacks. Well, can't blame a vamp for trying. Let's move on.
But I wanted to show you something which is very rare. It's hard to find this on video. Go to this site here, either one of these, shockonow.com or shockonow.net, and you could see where Richard Dawkins accidentally admits that intelligent design is needed for creation. I'm not kidding you. He does this experiment where he uses intelligent design.
That's a damn lie, and you know it!
Okay, as intelligent design is not the topic of this video, I'm just going to leave that one alone for now. But fear not, citizens! I may go back to it at a later date.
Now let's answer the question today. Notice there's a video here by Jacqueline Glenn. She claims she doesn't believe in God. I don't believe that.
Why not? Why does that bother you? Does the idea that people such as Jacqueline and I fail to believe in the God you personally believe in really make you that angry, Shock? Is your life really that petty? That doesn't sound like something a happy person would say, now does it? I personally don't care whether you believe in God, Odin, or Puff the Magic fucking Dragon. I'm just here to laugh at you. Do carry on.
But let's just answer the video. Notice her video is, are Christians happier than atheists? And a simple search, and by the way, we only want the best for Jacqueline Glenn.
I'm sure you want the best for Jacqueline. Oh yes, I'm sure about that. That's why you're about to try and make her feel miserable by reminding her of something unpleasant from her past. Isn't it, Shock? Don't make me laugh.
But a simple search on her channel answers that question. Notice, here she is, depression. Here she is, depression and suicide. Here she is, why I stopped taking my antidepressant.
You're an emotional fucking cripple. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
Very well, sir. As Supreme King of the Vampires, I am going to issue a royal proclamation. You, sir, are one dumb motherfucker. Depression does not simply imply that one is a miserable individual 24/7, you infantile little twat. Depression is a mental disorder, not an emotion. Being sad does not equal being depressed. Depression is usually caused by a chemical reaction in the brain, but it can also be caused by emotional trauma, reactions to other medication, brain injury, or a few other causes. It is far more complicated than simply being unhappy. You fail at basic logical comprehension, sir. And I suggest you return to school to get a proper education. Good day.
So I would suggest you click below this video you're watching now and go here and read the article about atheism and suicide. You know, atheists have the highest suicide rate in the world.
You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard! Jesus Christ, I've met some dumb bastards in my time, but you outdo them all. Get over there!
Oh, gee, Conservapedia. What an unbiased source to quote. It's not like they don't have some sort of agenda to push. Get out of here with that fake-ass study. Go find multiple peer-reviewed studies from unbiased sources that provide evidence for your claim. And don't come back until you do!
Also, atheists are now the least trusted group in the world. And the reason why, when people are asked, well, why don't you trust atheists? They say they won't trust them because they're denying reality.
You are a fool! I'm going to crush you and throw you into the wind!
Duh! Atheists are the least trusted group in the world? Well, gosh, I wonder if I can explain why.
I'll use small words so that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
I guarantee it's not because we deny reality. Actually, it probably has a lot more to do with math. Let's explore that, shall we? According to a study done by the Pew Research Center, link in the description, there are 2.38 billion Christians on this planet, 1.8 billion Muslims, 1.1 billion Hindus, and 1.2 billion unaffiliated. And no, unaffiliated does not automatically imply atheists. There are plenty of theists that don't practice any formal type of religion, but still believe in some kind of God. There are also deists. But let's be generous and say of the 1.2 billion stated, half are atheists. I guarantee that's wrong, but I'm a magnanimous person. So, that would mean there'd be 600 million atheists worldwide. Sounds like a lot, right? Allow me to squash that sentiment. Now, I'll figure out just how many theists there are. Let's see. Carry the 3, divide by 0, multiply by the speed of light, and we have 5.28 billion theists. So the number of atheists out there do not even come up to a full fifth of the theists out there. But hey, I'm a nice bloke. Nobody ever said different. Ignore my family members, my friends, and general people on the street. They're liars. I'm the nicest guy on the face of the planet. Other guys, total disasters. I'm the nicest, believe me. Okay, with the Trumpisms out of the way, I'll be even more generous and give you the full 1.2 billion. You'd think that would mean something. You'd think that would add to your argument, right? Wrong. It still only comes out to a little more than a fifth of the theists out there. So let's make things really complicated, shall we? There are approximately 7.5 billion people in the world. We'll give you the very generous assumption that 1.2 billion of them are atheists. So we have 1.2 billion atheists, which is generous. And we've also added up the 3 largest theist populations in the world. And that comes out to 5.28 billion. But what about the other religions of the world? This is where I hang you. Now, why don't we go ahead and add those up too? We've got Buddhists at 0.5 billion, folk religions at 0.4 billion, other religions at 0.1 billion, and Judaism at 0.01 billion. Let's add those to the existing theists, shall we? Now let's show Shock exactly what we have for him behind the curtain, folks. 6.39 billion theists and 1.2 billion atheists, if I'm being extremely generous. So what percentage of the world are atheists? A paltry 16%. That's 16% of 7.5 billion. But let's go even further. Let's use my 600 million atheists, which is more realistic, but still probably an overestimate of the real number. So once again, let's show Shock what we have behind the curtain. We have a minuscule 8%. So let's ask ourselves a simple question, shall we? If I were an atheist, which I am, in a world where there are 12 theists for every one atheist, and most of those theists thought I was A sinner who will burn in hell, B, an apostate who should be beheaded and then burned in hell, C, a person destined to be reincarnated as a fucking goldfish for not worshiping Krishna, or D, some other equally horrible thing. If that's my reality, would I feel like I was viewed as trustworthy to you? If 90% of the world hates my guts, why in Satan's black ballsack would I believe that I was trusted by said world? Everything you've said falls apart when you realize that atheists are outnumbered by theists who hate us and always have been. And yet you act like the fact that the world views us as untrustworthy is some sort of profound logical statement. Oh, it looks like you failed the challenge. But don't worry, we have these lovely parting gifts from the Aleister Crowley is Always Right Foundation. Please pick them up before you leave. And please, let the door hit you on the way out.
What's the matter? You're the one who started this game, and now you don't want to play anymore?
So don't forget to go to ShockOfGod.net, and I'm going to show you a book that, by the way, here's another person that became a Christian. Here's their testimonials. But this book here, you can get this book for free, Fox's Book of Martyrs. I think the real question that people should ask is, what causes real joy?
People got along just fine for thousands of years without AA, just like they got along for thousands of years without religion.
I like you and have no reason not to.
I like you and have no reason not to.
Hey, did you hear about that magic baby that was born in Bethlehem?
I'll tell you what causes real joy for me. Sitting down and playing video games, reading a good book, spending time with my family, listening to music, watching some anime, or making fun of Class 5 water-headed idiots like you, Shock. You know what makes me miserable? Sitting in a room full of silence as I listen to some sanctimonious priest stand at a pulpit and tell me what a horrible person I am and how I must worship his imaginary friend, or I'll go to an equally imaginary place where I'll be tortured forever. That doesn't make me angry or sad. It makes me bored. Your God and your religion bore the snot out of me. Come back when you have a better offer, like Valhalla. An eternity feasting, fighting, and fucking big titty Valkyries, and all I have to do is die in battle? Sign me up for the British Army. That's way better than being in Yahweh's circle jerk, aka heaven. Screw that noise. I'm going to Valhalla. I'm just joking. None of them are real.
Not are atheists or Christians happier than each other. We all know that if you're killing yourself at a record rate like atheists are, they're definitely not happy. You don't kill yourself because you're happy. They're depressed and suicidal.
Okay, I'm going to ignore that because he's just quoting Conservapedia again. By the way, in a couple of weeks, I'll have the ability to show you, bloke, just how insane Conservapedia is. Shuan Head did it first, but she only did the rim. I'm going in balls deep and immersing myself in the slimy insides of Conservapedia. I have no hatred for conservatives. Really, I don't. And the reason that I'll be making fun of that website isn't because I think conservatism is a joke. In fact, it's the opposite. This site is cancerous. It makes conservatives look like jokes, and I half believe that it's satire. It's a parody of what conservatives believe, except all the evidence suggests that they're 100% serious. So Shock may end up being right about atheism in my case, because going into that load of bollocks will probably kill me. I'm gonna ask you one simple question, Shock. And no, it's not do I feel lucky. The question is, do I sound suicidal to you? The only thing that makes me want to die is listening to you. I was just fine before you got here, and I'm more interested in force-feeding you cockroaches than I am in hurting myself. Why should I suffer when I can make you do it for me? You just don't get it. There's nothing I love more than sitting here and mocking you. But just the same, I'm afraid I wouldn't be too broken up if every theist on this planet became an atheist. Believe it or not, I want to live long enough to have grandchildren. And I'd rather that you didn't continue being an obstacle to that by rejecting the proven science known as climate change. You lecture me on being miserable? What a preposterous concept. I think you'll be the miserable one when half the organisms you like to eat die off because they can't survive on this planet anymore. I think you'll be miserable when you can't leave the house without the sun literally burning your skin the moment you walk out. Meanwhile, I, on the other hand, will still at least have the small joy of laughing and singing the Aleister Crowley Is Always Right Foundation official anthem. It goes, I told you so, I told you so, I was right, you were wrong. Kiss my pale vampire ass, because I'm always right. Okay, I deeply apologize to my audience for the singing. I know it's terrible, and it won't happen again.
We should get bumper stickers. Friends, don't let friends become atheists.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
On the contrary, Shock, I actively encourage others to become atheists, especially my friends. The difference is, I don't preach to them about it like you do. If they ask me about it, I tell them, but I don't go up to my friends and rub their noses in the fact that there is no God. That's just being an asshole. And you know what? I have theist friends and theist family members, and I get along with them just fine. They don't judge me, and I don't judge them. We live in harmony. That's how normal people act, Shock. It's mostly people like you that I have a problem with. Self-righteous, egotistical, moralizing wankers who think that just because they have a 2,000-year-old book that they're better than us. Arrogant pricks who think that they have all the answers. You know why you'll never win a debate against an atheist, you insignificant little insect? It's very simple. Even a pathetic little moron like you can understand it. The answer is, you have far more to prove than we do. We freely admit that we don't have all the answers. We admit that for some things, we may never have the answers. We freely admit our fallibility. However, you, on the other hand, are convinced that everything that exists, everything that has ever existed, and everything that ever will exist, all of this is guided by the hand of an omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, omnibenevolent creator that created everything, as well as an infallible book that we have to live by or burn forever. And furthermore, you have to prove that everything that exists, everything that has ever existed, and that ever will exist is 100% consistent with that creator and his nature. And that, my dear Shock, is logically impossible. You cannot defend the omnipotence because the concept of omnipotence is a logical paradox. If God is all-powerful, can he create something more powerful than himself? If he can, he loses his omnipotence, because he's no longer the most powerful being in the universe. If he can't, then he still loses his omnipotence, because that's something he can't do. And the definition of omnipotence is the ability to do literally anything. You cannot defend the omniscience without contradicting free will. And if there's no free will, then it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter whether you convert me. It doesn't matter whether you convert anyone. It doesn't matter what any of us do, because God has already decided. He already made his choice eons ago. If God's plan exists, free will is an illusion and our time here is meaningless. And if free will exists, then by default, God's plan cannot exist. And if it does, and our free will can contradict God's will, then we are back to the omnipotence question. The contradictions of omnipresence are inherently linked to omnibenevolence, due to the fact that God has been everywhere at once, forever. Yet somehow the Holocaust still happened. Somehow people still get horrible diseases, despite the fact that God can easily cure them. People still kill each other, despite God having the power to throw every single weapon on Earth into space and heal whatever desire for violence people have. God could literally stop climate change in its tracks. He could also replenish our oil reserves and make it so they'd never affect the environment. God is omnipotent. He could do any of these things. He could do all of them and more. Do you know why he doesn't? If your answer is because of free will, then I will ask you to rewind this video to the point where I destroyed that concept and ask that you watch it again, because the message clearly didn't sink in. I'll also ask that you see me after class for detention. You really mustn't tell lies, Mr. Potter. But to answer my earlier question, the reason God has never lifted a finger to help us is because that he can't, because he doesn't exist. He's a fairy tale designed to help a young species cope with our fear of the unknown and nothing more. Your God is as real as the tooth fairy.
But this book will show you that the question is not really the most important question. The question is what causes real happiness, what causes real joy. And as Christians, we're not, our calling is not to be happy, it's to be holy. And it's interesting, in trying to be holy and trying to follow God's word, that creates pure happiness. It's awesome. So it is obvious to me, if you click right below this video, you can read about atheism and suicide. But to answer Jacqueline Glynn's question, are Christians happier than atheists? Here, just look at your own videos. That should answer it. Christians are much happier than atheists.
What's the matter? Not winning as easily as you thought? You won't be winning at all. What, clown? Are you feeling angry, humiliated? Is that it?
Sorry, Shock. I'll take my simple, worldly happiness over your meaningless attempt to please a non-existent old man in the sky every single time. I would rather burn forever knowing that I lived a good, happy life than watch as people I love suffer in agony and be unable to mourn them. If you ask me, that's the real hell. At least if I went to the biblical hell, I'd retain my humanity instead of being the spiritual equivalent of Ren with the happy helmet. Let me ask you a question. Does this look happy to you?
Stimpy, I'm so happy! I must go do nice things!
Well, does it? That's what your God would do to us in heaven. He'd brainwash us. He'd strip away everything that made us who we are. And at that point, are we good people without the ability to mourn those who are suffering, to empathize with them, to feel anger at the being responsible? Without these precious emotions, are we the same people anymore? Are we even human? Dennis Prager said something about how he'd go mad if he knew he'd never see his loved ones again. Well, I'm the opposite. I'd go mad if I knew that innocent people were suffering forever, some of whom were my family and my friends, while I was forced to watch and not even be able to feel the slightest hint of empathy. The only thing on earth that would make me commit suicide is if you proved to me that your God existed. His existence wouldn't make me feel happy. It wouldn't bring me any kind of closure, and it certainly wouldn't make me want to serve him. Nothing on earth could do that. Nothing beyond it either. That's what you don't understand. You don't get it. And even though I'm about to explain it, you will still likely fail to grasp what I'm saying. It's beyond your comprehension. You will never convert me. It doesn't matter whether God is real or imaginary. That's utterly irrelevant to me. I expect that you have some sort of misguided hope about converting atheists. I can't speak for every atheist, but I can speak for the ones who think like I do. And let me tell you that we will never worship your God. Whether he exists or whether he doesn't, we will die before we worship a tyrant. Any tyrant. Your God is one of the most vile, malevolent, repugnant ideas that mankind has ever created, and the greatest consolation I have in life is knowing that he doesn't exist. Your God, your holy book, everything about your religion makes me want to throw up. And just so you understand how far I'm willing to go to make sure that I never ever have a place in your imaginary false paradise, I'm going to do the one unforgivable sin. I, Aleister Crowley III, hereby reject the Holy Spirit and call it a wretched pile of putrefying carrion. There! Now there's nothing left to say. Good day to you, sir! Well, Shock is wrong. Shock is wrong about everything. Literally everything he said in this video is false. Let me direct one more question to you, Shock. Why is it they call you ShockOfGod? Is it because you got zapped by lightning and now you can hear God speak to you through your fillings? Because they have a medication for that. Or is it because the lightning gave you brain damage and now you have the intellectual capacity of a soggy newspaper? I believe they have surgery for that. Or maybe I'm thinking too hard and it's simply because people are shocked by your stupidity. I don't think there's any fix for that. You can't fix stupid. Whatever the case may be, I'm bored and we've reached the end of this video. To my viewers, I wish all of you a very merry belated Christmas. I hope you spent it with people you loved, even you, Shock. And yes, I still celebrate Christmas. It has little to do with Jesus nowadays, and had very little to do with him in the first place, as it was originally a pagan holiday. So I'm going to go have fun with my family and avoid churches like the plague for the rest of my life. Oh, and please watch Jacqueline's original video, as she is far more honest than Shock, and far more even-tempered than I am. Oh, and why don't you subscribe to her too? She's a good person. She made a few mistakes in the past, but so has everybody. She's learned from her mistakes, and she deserves a second chance. As always, I'm the Deputy of Common Sense. I dispense swift justice to those who aren't so swift. Merry Mythmas to all, and to all a good night.
Here it comes! A little going away present for you!